Looking for a different way of doing smoked brisket? It doesn't always have to be served with coleslaw, baked beans, the typical barbecue side dishes. Let's look at trying to do it a different way. So as always, we're going to try and start with the thing that's going to take the longest. Obviously that's going to be the brisket, but check out a different episode that we posted to see how we do the brisket. Here, what we're doing in this instant, it's going to be the roasted vegetables. And like always, the easiest way to do it is by cooking it in a cast iron skillet. We're going to start by chopping up the densest, longest cooking vegetables that it takes. And those are the Brussels sprouts. So have them, arrange them in your pan, and try to get them face side down so that the cut side is against the surface of the cast iron. Once you have them all arranged, we're going to add a little bit of water to the pan. This is going to help it to steam up, so you're not just cooking right on the surface. You're not going to scorch the vegetables before they start to cook and release their own juices. You're giving them a bit of a head start. So after the water's in, a little bit of olive oil, some salt and pepper, turn it on, and let it do its thing. Second vegetable that we're going to add to this is going to be carrots. So after sprouts have had a chance to be working for a while, we're going to chop up some carrots, just simple baby carrots we got at the store, cut them down to help them cook a little bit quicker, and we'll add those to the pan. Nothing to it. Spread those around so that they cook evenly, and we'll add a little bit more salt and pepper just to make sure that these carrots get seasoned well also. That's it. Cover them up, adjust your heat, let them do their thing. We're just going to slowly sweat them out, and we'll come back and finish them off later. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take some of the extra juice and fat that came off from cooking the brisket. We're going to make a little bit of a sauce with it. So what I'm doing here is I'm heating up that sauce, and I've added some paprika to it. It's going to give it a nice, rich red flavor. Something else to help at it, give it a little bit more of a kick, I'm going to add some chili powder here also. So all we have here are three ingredients. We have the juices that came off the brisket and all the seasonings that went with it: paprika, chili powder, heat. Let it roll. All of those herbs will infuse together, and after they've had a chance to do so, move them off to the side so we can start our next dish. What we're going to do here is serve the brisket with polenta. And if you're not familiar with polenta, a common thing that we call them here in America are grits. So take some water, and I'm going to add some vegetable stock to it just to give a little extra flavor to the water that polenta is going to cook in. Our vegetables have softened up nicely at this point, so we're going to add a little bit of butter to them, a little bit of garlic, mix it all together, and with the lid off, all that water has evaporated. It's all cooked off. So now we're just going to add a little bit of browning to the vegetables themselves. They're cooked through, they're tender, but that little bit of browning is going to make them that much better. When the water's come up to a boil for the polenta, we're going to add the cornmeal to it. Real simple, stir it through, and then you just let it set and soak in. Almost like you're making rice or porridge or oatmeal, something like that. It's really simple, but it's good. It's going to pair real well with that grain-fed beef, that brisket that we have coming. So once it's stirred together, put the lid back on, let that residual heat soak in, and those grits are going to thicken up. If they look a little too thick, you can do what I did here. I added a little bit of milk. That's going to do a couple things. First of all, it's going to make sure that they're a little bit looser, but then also it's going to add some creaminess to it. This isn't something that's necessary all the time, but it does work. Also helpful to, instead of using a spoon like I did, try doing it with a whisk. Polenta and grits are kind of the same thing, but they're not exactly. Grits from the American South are made with hominy, which is similar to corn maize, but it's different than the corn that's used here, which is more of a cornmeal. So you get a little bit of a different texture, a little different flavor, but it's basically the same thing. Another thing we're going to do with this is we're going to serve a grain salad. Now, one of the reasons why so many of the common dishes are so popular with barbecue is because of all that sweet, fatty, rich flavor that you get from barbecue. You need something acidic to help cut through the bite of it. So what I'm doing here is I'm just making a simple green salad. We have some dried cranberries, some slivered almonds. I'm going to add a little bit of feta cheese here as well. But the dressing, we're keeping it simple. I'm adding some apple cider vinegar and olive oil, and that's it. And that cider vinegar is going to help cut through the richness and bring the whole plate together. So you're not just eating that heavy, rich stuff that gives you kind of a palate fatigue if you eat it too much. So don't be afraid to keep the acidity in there. Add it to the vegetables, add it to your salad. It's going to help the overall experience of the whole meal, not just the one dish that we're making here. And that's it. Real simple green salad. And that's going to go with this monster here. This is a whole packer brisket. Like I said, not showing you how to cook it here. Save that for a different video. But we'll slice through it. This has been resting for a couple hours after it came off the smoker. And as you can tell, it's still hot. Don't serve your brisket right off the smoker, right out of the oven, however you're preparing it. Let it rest. It's going to make it that much better, that much more tender, and that much more fun to eat. So slice it up. Usually what you aim for a good brisket are slices about the width of a pencil. It's going to be about 1 centimeter, a little less than half an inch or so thick. That way you can get the full flavor of the brisket, the beef. Nobody wants a thin slice. That's a way that a lot of restaurants will hide bad brisket. But these nice thick slices, like we've done here, that's going to be great, and it's really going to show off a really nicely smoked brisket. The great bark, that black crust to it. And you can see the steam coming off of it. You can see the juices running off. And this is after it's rested for 2 hours. Let it do its thing. It's going to be good. So at this point, we're pretty much ready to get going with the plating. A few final touches are all we're going to need to do. Think about the vegetables, the salad, the different polenta, how we're going to make all of that better. So on our simple white plate, let's think about plating it here. First, that's going to go down the polenta. That's the grits, that's the whole cornmeal base that we're going to start with. Doesn't look good, but believe me, with that stock that we added, the milk, you could add different flavorings if you want to, different cheeses, all kinds of things in there would make it really good. That's going to be our base. To help elevate it, we're going to add our roasted vegetables. Now, these aren't oven roasted. They are basically steamed and then finished right on the stovetop. Got a little messy here. That's okay. I've got clean countertops. I'm going to eat it. I'm not going to leave that for the dog. So we have our vegetables and polenta. Let's put the brisket right on the top of it. This is going to start bringing the whole dish together. Right now we just have 2 piles of food, and they have nice color to them. But when we add that brisket and finish it off with the sauce, it's going to bring everything together. A little saute pan with the paprika and chili powder infused beef drippings on the top. A little bit on the vegetables. That makes the vegetables taste a lot better. Of course, you gotta pour it on the brisket itself. Nice color that it gives. Helps tie the whole plate together as well. There you have it. Different way of serving barbecue brisket. It's going to be a hit. You should give it a shot. Be sure to like us, subscribe, check us out on Instagram, Pinterest, Facebook, Twitter, and we'll see you next time.